Hey everyone, the Mega Multi Mike here, and on this week's episode that you are about to watch, we are going to talk about organic farming, controlling robots with your mind, and of course, the ever elusive magic formula to telling the best stories you possibly can. Stay tuned. Alright, let's get started with this episode. Now, one thing I want to point out that I have noticed is that so far all of my episodes have had a tendency to lean a little more towards the science side of things. I am talking about business stuff in this series, but a lot of the things and topics I have brought up have involved, an aspect of science to it. That's kind of just my personality. I kind of like those things, but I want to try to mix it up a little bit and talk about organic food growing. There is a bit of science component to this too, I guess, but the main thing is I came across an article from IFL Science, and if you guys follow these people, then you'll probably have seen it. Mostly it was clickbait stuff. There wasn't really a lot of information on the claims that organic food is worse for the climate than non-organic food. The primary purpose of this particular article was to say and talk about the fact that for some crops, more land is needed, and that means more deforestation, and therefore the process of creating that land to create more organic food, as compared to the same yield of a non-organic process, results in higher CO2 emissions. I guess it depends on the plant that you're growing, I suppose. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because in recent times, I would say maybe the last 10, 15 years, knowing where your food comes from has been a really important thing for anybody who's keeping track of their health. And I guess that's a good thing, if we're being more aware and more conscious about what we're eating and putting into our bodies. But I want to talk about this and frame it from the perspective of having a business. This is a excellent industry to be in. This is an industry that I would love to be in. I think it's important, and I think it's also important that if you're in a business that you feel you are providing a service and that you are passionate about, then it's something that you should pursue. For me, I like ideas. I pursue ideas. I like to problem solve, which is why I have my consulting business where I help other businesses solve their problems. And we have a special guest here. Come on. We got Daisy, the business schnauzer. Anytime you make a bad decision, she gives you a really bad glare. Right? Oh, she's just so cute. Look at that little face. Look at that little schnauzer face. Anywho, what I was talking about was pursuing a business where you have a passion about what it is you're doing. And I think doing something in the health and wellness side of the industry, rather, is something that I think would be a lot of fun and has some purpose to it. And I think that just would be a good idea to get involved in. And I really don't know where to start with something like that. I know that there are plenty of YouTube videos and podcasts out there about people getting into things like granola bars or energy drinks or, just things like that in general. And I would like to learn more about that process. For me, the logistics side of things is an interesting problem to solve because you're dealing with a product that has multiple life cycles. I would be interested in doing something like that. I just don't know where to start. Not sure what exactly I would grow or do, but I am looking to buy some land here in this great state of Texas, and see if I can use it for something like that. The next thing I want to talk about is this really fun video I saw on Facebook about a robotic arm being controlled by a person that's connected to this device. In my opening, I said that it was controlled by a person's brain. It's not exactly that flashy. What they're doing is they have an EKG type of reader set up to a person's forearm, and that EKG is then run through software that learns how to read the electronic signals in the muscles and translates that to similar movements in a robotic counterpart. And I have the video here. I'm going to show you the video and also put a link to their website down below if you want to check it out and learn more about it. Now, I guess going back to the science side of things, this is something that I really want to be a part of. This is my long-term, big picture vision that I want to get everything I can into. I want to develop artificial limbs, artificial organs, who knows, maybe even entire artificial bodies that people can just swap out theirs and put their brain into this new body and just continue moving forward, upgrading their parts for whoever knows how long. I mean, I'm sure at some point the brain can only function for so long. That would be a fun question to figure out. How long could someone's brain continue to function in a healthy manner if they're in a non-biological body, right? Sorry, I'm getting really into the sci-fi stuff. But the truth is, technology like this is being developed. It's available. We just have to learn how to use it. And I think it's very reasonable to believe that we can develop products like this, an artificial arm, an entire arm, or a hand, an entire limb, these things that could be swapped out for performance reasons or for better quality of life. I know for me, as an example, I used to compete in Taekwondo. You could probably see the belt certificate back there, and I did it a lot, had a lot of fun with it, competed at the national level until I had a back injury. Right, herniated a disc, shattered another disc. That shattered disc pinched a nerve. Now I have slight nerve damage, and it's always going to be there, never going to go away. And in some days, the pain is just so bad that I can't walk, right? And that's just a fact of life for me now. And what I also know is as I get older, that problem is just going to get worse. So I thought to myself, what if there was a way I could swap out my spine and replace it? Something that would be better constructed than the one that I have now and would be more conducive to not having that nerve pain. And that's really where I got this idea of having an overall artificial body. The list goes on and the possibilities become almost endless, right? And I think that would be a really great frontier. That's the next logical step in the healthcare, medical, and technology side of things that are related to that industry. Again, I don't have the resources or the particular knowledge set that I would need to be able to make something like this happen. So if you are watching and you know somebody that has this expertise or is in a business that does things like this, I would love to have that conversation with you or with them, or whatever happens. And I'm definitely open to hearing other people's ideas and networking and maybe making something happen in terms of an actual business. I would love that to happen. That's the whole point of this Mega Multi-Mic show, is to talk to you guys about these business ideas and to find ways to grow and become passionate about the things that you want to do and make them into a working, functioning, producing business, right? So that's my spiel on that. Again, artificial limbs, artificial bodies, that's really cool stuff. I would love to learn more about it. Definitely would be awesome to become the Terminator, right? Or I guess more like RoboCop. That's really what happened in RoboCop. Last thing I want to talk to you guys about is an article I came across in the MIT Technology Review. It's an older article. It just kind of resurfaced in my searches and things that I like to read. Came out back in 2016. I'm sure the data has been updated since then. But essentially what this article is talking about is these group of scientists took data on all kinds of stories, like thousands of stories, they put it into a AI program that basically broke everything apart, categorized all these things, and then fed that into an algorithm that determined that of all the stories, that of the thousands of the stories it was looking at, that all these stories of the best kind, and, these were like bestseller stories and classics that have been around forever that everybody loves to read. I mean, maybe not everybody loves, but they're important pieces of literature. And it turns out that there is a trend in the style and the structure of stories. Turns out there's actually 6 major plot devices or story arcs or story development patterns that are used in the best storytelling techniques. So you can break any story down to basically 6 winning formulas. So of those winning formulas, what can I do to make a successful piece of literature? Actually, I want to talk a little bit about that. One thing I have come to really value is the story writing of comic book stories. They're very, very intricate, very detailed, and I have decided I'm going to go ahead and give it a shot too. I'm actually writing my own little tiny universe for comic book stories. We have been making some breakthroughs and getting further than we have been in the progress with our first graphic novel. Now, what we're doing, since it's a very small operation, just me and a buddy of mine, we're actually looking for some artists to help us do like line art and maybe some coloring. I think if we can figure out someone who can do the line art based on the sketches that I provide, I can go back and do the inks and the colors and then finish it out myself. But for the most part, me and my friend are writing these stories, right? And they all connect together. And for me, it's fun, it's therapeutic, and now I have some science and some data information that I can use to back up and verify that the story I am developing is in fact a winning story. And I look forward to telling these stories to each and every single one of you. My goal, actually, going into 2019 is to complete the first volume. The way I'm doing it is one volume for me is broken up into books. These books are broken up into issues, and each book has 5 issues. Each volume has 4 to 5 books, so total 20 to 25 issues. And I want to complete one volume, the first volume, in the initial story that's going to launch my comic book universe. And I want to release at least the first book by the end of next year so I can time it with one of the Comic Cons coming to San Antonio or Austin or Dallas or one of them, and start promoting it that way. And so, yeah, that's definitely on the horizon. And I'm going to be using resources like this that back up and help me, guide me more or less into the direction of better storytelling. It definitely is original. That's for sure. It's not going to come off like that at first, but you got to read the details. The story, everything in these stories has a purpose and a meaning and a reason for being there. And there's so many little Easter eggs. It's going to be great. It's going to be fun. And I can't wait to debut that to you guys and show you how that's coming along. But yeah, that's it for now. Thanks for watching and tuning in, and I'll catch you guys next week. Thanks.